toast. Bro, my hat keeps drifting forward, and I just keep feeling like the dude from Friday. No more locked doors, where like you can barely see through.
Right?
No more locked doors. Thank you. Hey, can you give me another water? Thank you. So you missing zebra cakes is what you're accusing me of? Huh? What? Josh, can you believe this? I'm being accused of stealing her zebra cakes. Nobody wants your goddamn zebra cakes, woman. I'm just kidding.
You melt some peanut butter and put it on it?
Hey, can you also what are you doing? Playing Fortnite? Okay, we'll work on that later. Oh yeah, bro. That breeze felt good. I'm about to turn the AC on, bro. Oh, wait, wrong shot. Little Debbie's. Oh man. Nah, I don't got hating on zebra cakes, but I didn't take them. Josh, what's your favorite cake or pastry? Commercial pastry.
You know, I'm not a big sweets fan. I like spicy, savory. So you're asking the wrong person.
Spicy, savory? Are you one of those sweet and sours?
No, just sour and spicy. I'm not a sweet fan. I don't like chocolate.
But not sour and spicy together, though, right? That sounds disgusting.
That sounds pretty dope, man. I'd be down.
I mean, I knew you were a psychopath, so it's whatever. It is whatever.
What about you?
I mean, I told how you learned yesterday. I'm a payday guy. I'll load up on paydays.
Oh yeah. Wait, but that's not a pastry.
It's not. It's a pastry. Is Pop-Tart a pastry?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It meets the minimum qualifications of being considered a pastry. I don't know. I don't really get down. I guess I used to like cinnamon rolls and stuff like that, but my girlfriend, she has some of the weirdest allergies, and one of them is cinnamon. I don't know if she wants me to. I don't know if cinnamon, turkey, and aloe, bro. How? Yes, she's allergic to those three. It's just like, what an incredible combination of things to be allergic to.
Right,
and
so don't get a sunburn and chill in a pastry shop.
Yeah, right. So she had a subscription mailer. You know, like there's a monthly mailer, surprise boxes and gift boxes, stuff like that. The other night she opens one up and it's like 12:30 at night, and there's like cinnamon sticks and just cinnamon. Like she almost she's coughing and her eyes bubble up and stuff like that. So it's legit. It's tough, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? How was your night last night? You called a couple of good things that were really, really sharp. First of all, you were all over Steven Adams being an insane defensive liability, and we thought. And now I knew they wouldn't adjust for J-Val. I didn't know what they would do with Steven Adams.
Yeah, they adjusted their defense, but kept J-Val out there. So instead of dropping coverage, they just came out on Chris Paul and switched, which got a lot of easy assists for Chris Paul. So
yeah, well, Steven Adams played less than 3 minutes last night.
Yep.
So amazing call. We were on. We took advantage of like the Brandon Clark props. I didn't get to Xavier Tillman, but hey, if you did, congrats to you. Or if you acted on the under for Steven Adams. Now we had said, look out for Steven Adams' second half unders, but sheesh, that would have DNP'd and that would have been a problem. But no, good call. But overall, man, any thoughts or any takeaways from last night if you want to touch on?
Yeah, So our process was pretty spot on. It's just I think the biggest letdown last night was Devin Booker's unfortunate injury. It ended up being like a James Harden situation where both of them went off in the first half, and you're looking at halftime. You're looking at the fantasy point props, saying, "Okay, I'm all set here with that." I had a few cards that's all I needed was his fantasy points, and I got injured and played majority of the second half, and fell short just like Harden did. So, yeah, these second half tilts, man, are definitely hurting. So, hopefully, variance falls our way.
Yeah. We are live. Shout out to the live chat. Shout out to you guys. 75 right off the rip. Guys, I just sat around for 2 hours on the baseball stream and never hit 75. So, you guys are nuts, man. Appreciate that love. Shout out to Chris Smith, Mia Moore. Caleb says, some fool going to catch a gun line today. Tell him about the gun line, boss. You ever seen Life?
Life?
The movie? Please say yes. Good
Wait,
God.
who's in it?
Eddie Murphy, Bernie Mac.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Good one. But anyway, the gun line. So when I was in my wrestling days, I used to do a fat spinning heel kick, and we call it the gun line. So somebody going to catch a gun line, right? Willie Wilson, what up, Willie? Says, I only 25 to each time. I never win. What am I doing wrong? I only 25 to each time. I never win. What am I doing? Man, I don't think I could. You might have got autocorrect there, Willie, man. Let's see if we can rephrase that, and I'll try and touch up on that. What up, Parker? What up, Steve? Mock Wall. Sheriff to Scott Foster somehow does it again against Chris Paul. Not even the Spain pick and roll could overcome the power of Scott Foster.
The curse.
It's the baby, bro. He shouldn't have touched that baby, bro.
I know. Yeah, he's dealt with that hamstring issue earlier this season too. So, I think the Suns would have. It's crazy because Brandon Ingram had a career game, and they still barely won. And Devin Booker went down. I think if Booker didn't go down, the Suns would have easily beat him.
So we saw some lines move on who wins. Your Warriors looking like a strong suitor now for shortest odds to win a championship when the Suns were the guys. So we'll see just how serious that Devin Booker injury is. What up, Blocks Me? Steve says, besides 420 Day, there's also National Cold Brew Coffee Day. At least Dunkin' Donuts say so. Okay. What up, Justin Jennings? Chronic in the chat. You're mate. We're adding a mate to that. Jeff says he would have played more if he didn't foul so fast. Like, no. Yeah, like 2 minutes more. Yeah. I saw people kind of like initially trying to blame foul. No, he was.
No. He was
done. What are you going to do? What up, Blah? I don't know with the sub. I didn't even recognize that. Appreciate that, Blah. We're here for Brooklyn and Boston. Yes, sir. Liking the Bulls top 3 overall, says Corey Eastman. Base cock curse. It's that baby curse, bro. Past that, you going to eat your cornbread? I can never watch that movie enough. Such a good movie.
Yeah.
Such a good movie. All right, let's talk
Oh
some
yeah,
props
speaking,
here.
we didn't talk about. Sorry, we didn't talk about the Eagles game, and we were so hyped for it. And yeah, I mean, I knew Memphis was gonna win that game easily, but I didn't think it was gonna blow out that bad. Yeah, that change in lineup and Tillman playing Tillman was huge. That was the big difference in my opinion.
Like John Morant said, hey, if you switched up, stay on that side. Stay on that side. All I know is whoever wins this series, I'm full sending rooting for them in finals, bro. Sorry if it comes down to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, bro. I'm out here as a lifelong
Yeah,
John Morant fan, bro. Let's go.
yeah, I mean, they're not a good matchup for the Warriors, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean they've just been so good all year.
Yeah,
And they're just so much fun to root for, right? And in the days of the super team, Memphis just out of nowhere, they just had the attitude you can relate to. That every man, has a shot. Like these guys were not supposed to be here, and they're just so much fun to root for. So
yeah,
and the same with the Timberwolves, right? So either whoever wins that's who I'm backing, right? Let's go. What are you gonna do? What up, Vince? I'm not daddy's pappy. Such a good one. I'm staying on this side. Trust me. Come on, J. Cole. Come on. All right, let's talk some basketball here. We got 3 games on the docket tonight. We got the Boston Celtics hosting the Brooklyn Nets with a 226 total, 3.5-point spread in favor of the home team, Boston Celtics. A lot of people looking forward to this game. It should be a lot of fun. Getting Kevin Durant, getting Kyrie. Kyrie back in Boston. They treated him oh so well in that last outing, and a little middle finger narrative if you're raunchy. And we've also, we basketball's becoming a game of adjustments, and in the playoffs, if you don't adjust, you do the same thing that you always done, you're gonna get the same results that you always gotten. It's the definition of insanity, right? And you mentioned we were talking about it off the air and on in Discord. Steve Nash is flirting with some changes, so maybe that's something to look forward to tonight. And we talked about Andre Drummond; he's a liability down there. Claxton's going to have to be your lateral quickness guy, and then I believe you were saying that Blake Griffin might rear his ugly head. So we'll start with the Brooklyn side of this game, and then tell me about some of the game theory you got going on for Nets and their props tonight as 3-point dogs, 3.5-point dogs.
Yeah, I mean, Nash did say he's going to stick with the current starting lineup, but that doesn't mean the second half will stick with that, which what we saw in the first game. I mean, Drummond did have 4 fouls, but I don't think that was the reason because all those guys were in foul trouble in the entire game. So I think he lost out in that closing fourth because of his defense, and Horford was just burning him on the perimeter in his switch defense, and he couldn't handle Tatum. And like I said in the past, Nash said he likes Claxton for his defense on guards, especially fast athletic guards like Jaylen Brown, and also helping out with Tatum. So I think Claxton, as long as he can stay out of foul trouble, because he is a block centric guy who he does fall for the pump fake and will jump into guys easily. But I mean, with that said, his block upside's there. I think he will get 28 to 30 minutes again. It should close. So I mean, Drummond is going to start, and if he gets this normal first quarter extended run, his first half props are probably the lowest I've seen it in a long time. We've always had to deal with his first half props being juiced. Right now, they have him at 8.5 PRA, and they have him at 12 fantasy points. So that's something you can consider. Because I do think he'll come out and play that normal first quarter run and get some minutes in the second quarter. And then Claxton, I do like his fantasy points full game because, like I said, he should push 28, 30 minutes. And yeah, so I also read that Nash said that they want to get Seth Curry the ball more. He was kind of neglected in the offense last game. His ankle is still pretty sore, but I mean his 3-point shooting, they need it today. And so yeah, I think they'll look to get him the ball. I did notice though that when he would get the ball at the 3-point line, the Celtics really focused on trying to negate that and take away his 3-point shooting. And so when they did, it let Seth either pump fake and then drive in, and he was getting easy assists to Drummond and Claxton in the paint. Right now, his assist prop is only 2. So I really like that if the Celtics try to really hammer the perimeter and prevent that 3-point shooting. And we've seen him, take over ball handling too at times, especially when Kyrie's on the bench. And then another person I really want to focus on is Dragic. So he was really pivotal in that game 1, and I think he's earned his role in this series. He was really efficient. If he plays 25 plus minutes again, I mean, I really like his 14.5 fantasy points because he will fill a stat line. He'll be involved with passing and scoring. So, what do you have him projected for right now?
For Dragic, I'm sitting on 23 minutes, about 20.5 fantasy points. So that is 6 points above the PrizePicks line right now.
Okay.
And then to double down on this Dragic take, and then to revisit Drummond and more specifically the Drummond first half prop potential. In that last game, Drummond, he didn't play the fourth quarter. So if we're getting that no tax on this first half prop, we're already getting a better shot at the first half. And then also, he got his 4th foul a couple minutes into the second quarter. So he got benched. So he probably closes out the first half, potentially, probably.
Yeah.
I do think we can kind of feel better about that Drummond first half prop. And then we saw this in the regular season. Goran Dragic is one of those trusted veterans. You put him out there on the court in the fourth quarter to close out, and I think the minutes will be there for him. And I think Drummond could lose out on the fourth quarter again, which is what happened in the last game. I can kind of get down with you on this on both of those calls, the Drummond first half and the Dragic full game. Were you thinking fantasy points as the throw a blanket over everything?
Yeah,
or?
I'm gonna ask you. I can't decide because the PRA is so low for a guy who's gonna rack up boards and get some easy putbacks and dunks. But he has that block upside.
So I would say that 12.5 PRA is probably 14.5 fantasy points. You know what I mean? Like you're getting 1.2.
It's 8.5 PRA
For Dragic?
Oh, you're saying Dragic? I thought you were talking about.
For Drummond. Yeah. Okay, I thought you were talking about Dragic. Drummond.
Dragic. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so let's look into him. So you're debating between the PRA.
It's the same click, and I'd probably take the fantasy because the steal would just.
You're gonna get one. Yeah, and you're gonna get 1.5 points per assist. So.
Okay, cool. So now let's go back to Drummond, and I'll bust open the first half for Drummond here, and. Oh man, I think I got ice cubes that are not great. So 12 fantasy points in the first half, and then you said 8.5 PRA feels kind of light. So yeah, because heck, he could get 8 rebounds, right?
Yeah.
So I guess we're splitting hairs here. Overall, I have Drummond for 25 fantasy points. If I chop that in half, what is that? 12.5 to 13 the fantasy points. So 12.5. So I would be right in line with that, but it's also not a chop in half situation because he's going to play more minutes, or likely to play more minutes in the first half than the second half, and yeah. But I think he does have steal and block potential. On the season, he averaged over a steal per game, about a block per game. So because of that, I'd probably keep that in mind for his fantasy point prop if I want to target that first half.
Yeah, and with that said, they have a 1.5 block steal prop for him too.
Then yeah, so I'm gonna start taking some notes here.
Yeah, that's tempting too.
So let me start off with Andre Drummond first half fantasy, and then Goran Dragic full game fantasy, spell fantasy correctly, and then I guess you're pretty privy to Seth Curry assist.
I am, and then if they really do try to get him the ball more and involved on offense, then I mean his 11.5 points is always in play too. But did 2 assists, man. I just due to how the Celtics played him and how he has the ability to find open man. He has good court vision, so it's just so low for him.
Yeah, I'm with that. All right, let's talk about the big boys then. Kevin Durant versus Kyrie. Do we take shots on both? Both of these guys played pretty deep minutes. 42 minutes for Ramadan Kyrie. 41 minutes for Kevin Durant. Just very, very little time off the court here. And if you're going to get that type of minutry, it's hard to not like them. Either one of them. Durant starts us off at a 49 fantasy point projection, and Kyrie's at 47. So versus their minute projections, I know we found like yesterday, McCall and Bridges were all over guys that play more minutes than their fantasy points, but these are guys that are more than a fantasy point per minute, getting 42 minutes. So I can get behind both. Do you want to split one? Do you have a lean on who's the better click today versus the other? Or are we just kind of like loading up here and expecting 42 minutes and we'll just whatever happens, happens? We got Kyrie at 4.5 free throws. That's a line he's cleared the last 2 games. Boston does play physical defense, and a guy like Kyrie, if he's going to have 20-plus shot attempts, might draw some foul. He only needs 3 fouls, right? 3 trips to the free throw line to clear that. So that's kind of one that's speaking to me. And then Kevin Durant, for him specifically, you probably throw a blanket over everything and looking at that 49 fantasy points. But that was a tough click last game. I think if there is
turnovers, man.
Turnovers and Kyrie going off, right? And I think I think Kevin Durant's kind of like a matchup-proof player on the planet Earth. But there are team schemes that the Celtics can do. They have a little bit of length with Jason Tatum and Horford to somewhat match up archetype type. So I could understand how he has less than a KD like performance, but I also don't expect back-to-back down games for Kevin Durant because he's a bad man. Right. What are your thoughts on KD and Kyrie?
Yeah, I think KD shot really bad relative for his potential. I mean, he went 9 of 24 from the field. And he was really careless with the ball. He even admitted it. I mean, he threw away a lot of passes and tried to force things that he shouldn't have, and he had 6 turnovers. He's been doing that a lot though lately. So it makes me a little bit hesitant on his fantasy points, especially since like defense is focused on him and he forced some passes and plays. Just being, trying to be the playmaker on the team just carries turnover potential with it. But I could get with his point prop. So the books right now, I think most of the sports books, all of them have him at 30.5 points, and people are still smashing the over on that. And it's very rare that PrizePicks did not respond, and they still have him at 29.5 points. So you're getting a 1-point discount still. I expected this to get juiced, but it's still sitting there. But we'll see before lock. Maybe it goes up to 30.5. But I like his free throw prop too, and I think you brought up a great point with Celtics being very aggressive on defense. And KD did say after the game that the Nets need to be more aggressive and attack the paint. I expect KD to do that today and try to pick up some scoring from the free throw line, which he's so good at. I mean, he averages almost 7 free throws a game. So I like his 7.5 free throws, and I could maybe consider his point prop today too. And then if I'm going to play his point prop, you could pair that with Kyrie's 5.5 assists. I think that's still pretty low for him, especially if the Celtics try to take him out of the game and from the perimeter too. So he could, find easy outlet passes to guys like KD or cutting Bruce Brown. So that's kind of where I'm leaning towards is probably KD free throws, Kyrie assist, and then KD's real points, kind of in that rank order. And then Bruce Brown, man, he only took 3 shots that game, and he still played big minutes. They're gonna need him today, and he's gonna have all the open looks he can handle. But it's Bruce Brown, and does he make those corner threes and make the buckets? This is something we say every time the Nets are on the slate, right? So I'm gonna put that as more mid tier. I would feel more comfortable with Seth Curry if they want to get him more involved today.
Yeah. All right. So I'm with you there. So would you be cool with adding Kyrie free throws too?
Yeah.
Okay. You said KD free throws.
I like both their free throws.
Okay.
If they're going to be aggressive in attack, and the Celtics are going to try to match that intensity defensively.
All right, I'm with that. All right, let's get caught up on chat here, see what you guys are working with. Marcus Henderson says, Miami versus Minnesota for the finals. Jimmy would go crazy. Maybe. I don't yeah, okay. I don't think that's happening.
And he plays the Bulls in the semifinals.
It's just Tom Thibodeau's courtside. Willie said, "I only 25 each time I play on 2 each bet. I'm still not. I only. You're saying you only win like $25 each time? Is that the? All right. My bad, Willie. I wanna help you out here, but I can't quite understand. Let me see. Willie Wilson says, "I only have $25 each time I play." Poor man. Oh, hey man, you balling on a budget. Don't worry about that, man. Just be true to your bankroll, right? Don't try to spend it all.
Slowly but surely, yeah. Just keep building it.
You're fine, and don't be intimidated. In our Discord, it's good vibes only, man. I don't care if you're posting $1 to $20 or $20 to $2,000, man. I just want to see you guys eat. What else we got? Chronic in the chat. What up, Kiefer? What up, Keg? Shout out to Keg in the chat. The PrizePicks YouTube legend. Ben Pieces. Yo, what up, Gun? What up, Ben? Any idea what PrizePicks is all of a sudden not legal in Maryland? I've been playing it since like November. Usually whenever that happens, it's because their state law made a movement or interpretation adjustment on what is gambling, what is betting, and what is legal, or if that state's trying to become a state that offers sportsbooks, something like that. I can't speak on the what exactly happened, but it's usually something out of PrizePicks control. They wouldn't just voluntarily not run, so it's either the lawmakers are making some type of push, they had a legal advisement to pull out, or maybe they are starting to regulate, and then the license cost could be something. But I don't know specifically, but those are usually the three common reasons, right? I just heard about Dwayne Haskett. You just heard Malakir? Yeah, that was super unfortunate. Wow, how did you just hear about that? Can't miss this for nothing. What up, Suaveless? What up, Dustin Lauer? F the laws, man. One day, I will say this: 4 years ago, when FanDuel had pulled out of Texas. I mean, think about that. Because of the loose interpretation laws and stuff like that, and we never thought Arizona would open up. We've seen a lot of progress in the last half a decade for not just DFS being readily accessible, but also for sportsbooks opening up. So be patient. We're in the golden days, the golden era of things becoming legalized. So unfortunate that you can't play for now. Hopefully you can find some sort of alternative, but also you probably need to, I don't know, call your senator. I don't know how that works. I don't think you could just call senators, but
lobbyists.
What is it? Yeah, write a well-written letter or tweet and let somebody know that crab cakes and gambling is all you got. All right, let's move on to the Celtics side of this game. So there's a lot to like on the Celtics side. They are still without Robert Williams, so that front court's been looking like Daniel Tice and a whole lot of Al Horford.
Alejandro, man. Let's lock and load him.
Yeah, right. So I guess we can start everywhere. There's not much to not like here, but looking at Horford specifically, in that last game, we saw him go 41 minutes. Some of us didn't know that he could actually physically do that without turning into dust. So that's good to know.
I mean, it makes sense. He was so crucial for their offense, and he's such a mismatch for the Nets. The Nets were outscored 56-32 in the paint.
Yeah. And now, if we double down on those type of minutes in this game, we have one of those favorite things where the guy's fantasy point projection is lower than potential minutes played, right? So if he plays 41 minutes, he essentially can survive at little less than a fantasy point per minute, but being a fantasy point per minute would steer us in the right way of the over. Yeah. So what's not to like for Al Horford? They added the double-double prop, and this is something that we always say keep an eye on. So what that means is their projections are already implying him for a double-double, 12.5 points, 10 rebounds. So if you believe he's going to get double-digit points and you think he could just get 10 rebounds, well, the double-double is the way that you can kind of middle that. So yeah, if you're buying into that, go for that. I don't mind anything. I would probably, me personally, want to target the fantasy points because he can be a defensive peripheral getter. On the season, he averaged 1.3 blocks per game, almost a steal per game. So that's 2.5 stocks. That's 8.5 fantasy points kind of implied. So I think I would just throw a blanket over everything and go ahead and grab the fantasy points at 36. But I wouldn't talk you off any double-double ledges or anything like that. Do you have a favorite Horford prop? For me, it's fantasy.
I'm with you on the fantasy. So I looked it up, and it's limited sample size, but around 200 minutes of sample size, he is at about 1.07 fantasy points per minute with Jalen, Tatum, and Smart on the court, and Robert Williams off the court. So, like you said, if he gets that 40 minutes, he should get over that. But yeah, I would rank it fantasy point, and then I think his point prop is too low still at 12.5 for how involved he's going to be again offensively, and how much of a mismatch he is against the Nets. So if you don't want to sweat at the 36 fantasy points, you could always consider that 12.5 points as well.
Yeah, and then we mentioned he might see more Drummond in the first half, which is probably a little bit more of an exploitable spot.
Yep.
Maybe you could chop his first half prop. So at 30, yeah, 36 is, what's half of 36? 15 and a half, 17 and a half, 15.
That's a really sharp call, man. He got how many points did he score total? He scored majority of his points in the first half against Drummond. He scored 14 points in the first half. I think. Okay. What did he finish with, 20?
So they got him at 18. So it's 18. Yeah, it was right down the middle. Why am I so dumb? Math. Yeah. 18 fantasy points in the first half.
How do the points? He scored 14 out of.
6.5.
Yeah, he scored 14 out of his 20 points against Drummond in the first half.
I guess that's fine. So I'm privy to the full game, but also I'll add first half. Well, we'll mix and match here. We saw yesterday, guys are smoking the first half, getting injured or blowouts, whatever. First half, we'll go real points here with Al Horford, full game fantasy. Boom.
That's a sharp call. I like that.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'm dumb.
It makes sense. That's where he was getting his points and exploiting Drummond. So,
okay, all right. Let's move on from Al Horford, and let's talk about who's next on your. Is it Jason Tatum?
Man,
everything.
It's the same problem as the Nets, right? Like Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum. Tatum's going to dominate the playmaking again, I assume. But oh man, one of my favorite props, his assist prop last night opened at 4.5, and now they juiced it to 5.
You knew that was coming,
but
and it's somewhat the same bet, but you can push as a worst case scenario.
Yeah, I went back and watched like some of the game film, and he was running the pick and roll with Horford and Williams, Grant Williams. So I don't really change much. So I still think he's going to be the playmaker and distributor again today. So I think you can still get on the 5 assists. All his other props are so juiced that I would probably really only consider that prop form. I don't know if you have like any other gut read on him, but he's definitely juiced today.
Yes, but is he though? I've got him for 43 minutes, right? He played almost 45 minutes in that game with a little bit of a break in the first quarter. It's actually insane that he never left the court. So for his fantasy point prop to be 49 at a usage rate that could be 28 to 32%, give or take, based on who's on the court, and also his defensive peripherals being what they are, I'm with it. I have a fantasy projection on Jason Tatum right now at 58, so I'm getting dang near a plus 10, plus 9, and then I think what we should ask ourselves is he getting 12 free throw attempts? You know what I mean? But other than that, it was a par for the course Jason Tatum game, and if you take out you take. Yeah, I guess if you lose those 10 free throws, you certainly aren't clearing that prop at the level that you would want it. But the minutes played are nice, and then maybe this is just one of those we hedge some Tatum cards, some Brown cards. But yes, this is a spot where ultimately he's probably priced at maximum. There's no sale on Jason Tatum today.
Yeah, I mean, you basically are saying like Jaylen Brown, don't do anything again. Like, don't get hot, right?
Yeah. This ice, you ever get ice that just doesn't taste right?
That no, man, that was.
Oh, okay, that's a mean thing. No. I mean, like I don't know. I guess the word
like chemicals.
It kind of tastes like freezer burned ice or whatever. I don't like it. So I gotta drink room temperature water like a pleb, like a peasant out of a bottle. All right, so that's what we got on Tatum. So Tatum's free throw prop is at 6. He went through the free throw line. Who was fouling him? Was it Drummond?
Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown.
Yeah, Bruce Brown picked up a lot of fouls on him. Bruce Brown almost fouled out.
Okay, well maybe his free throw props in play, and then Jaylen Brown, 2.5 threes for his prop, 42 fantasy points. I'm looking at 48 fantasy points, so not a giant gap versus my aggressive algorithm versus theirs. And then Marcus Smart, defensive player of the year, 33 fantasy points on him. I've got him for 36, so that's really really close to my projection. So not a whole lot of egregious. Guys leading the charge for click me, but Tatum is probably the guy I want to find something to zero in on as we go. But Al Horford looks like the favorite. Do you have any interest in the Derek White, Grant Williams, Daniel Tice?
No, it's too risky in my opinion. But yeah, Marcus Smart, I think the fantasy point. I mean, he had an outlier game for him in terms of the 3-point shooting. He shot 4-9. That really boosted his real points and helped his fantasy out too. But I mean, he fell just short of his assist prop. I mean, his assist is always live if Tatum and Jalen catch fire. So I think that can be considered as a mid-tier, a 6.5 assist.
Okay, I don't mind that. And also, he's another one of those guys stuffed the stat sheet with defensive peripherals. Maybe his fantasy point prop is something to sweat, but it looks like it could be a big one.
Or it's two block and steal prop, but that'd be hard to play.
Yeah. I don't know why I just made that noise.
Because it's tempting.
Yeah.
And Jaylen Brown, I can't call it, man. He went off fantasy wise because he had six total stocks, so the chances of that repeating probably pretty low. It just seems like there's a lot of variance behind him. So I might just fade him just because I don't know what to expect.
All right. Well then, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's go to Toronto. Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Raptors. Got 216.5 total. Matisse Thybulle ineligible. Scotty Barnes questionable. Doubtful. All right. And then Gary Trent. Do we have an update on Gary Trent? Because right now I don't have any tag on him, so I'm assuming he's just going to play.
He's going to try again, but man, he looked really out of it when he played sick last game.
All right. Well, I mean, it's an illness, couple days rest. You know, he could be better.
Have they released any news on what? They just keep saying non-COVID, but they don't say what it is.
I don't know. In that case, it could be the 1-day flu or a little head cold or something like that, and a couple.
I think it'd be good to look and research this some more. And
research what kind of illness he has. I mean,
what
are you gonna do? Yo, Gary Trent.
Some reports out there. There's gotta be some report out there saying what he has.
I mean, maybe, but there's no reason for them to. Anyway, it's not HIPAA, bro. Anyway,
it's a breathing related. So it must be a respiratory illness, which is not good. Yeah. Nick Nurse said this morning said during shoot around that his breathing is the biggest issue. So could consider the unders again.
All right, something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's way out of my comfort zone to guess a player's Like
I know.
there like people were running to jamming Kyrie because of Ramadan. He can't
Yeah.
drink. It's a daytime game. It's gonna be
Yeah.
he's gonna be exhausted, and just like Kyrie goes out there and absolutely goes nuclear.
Right.
So I'm gonna stick with the analytics and the data, and not try to play doctor.
Yeah. Fade it.
With that said, let's start with the 76ers. In this 1.5 point spread. Now they don't have Matisse Thybulle, and while he's not a significant piece of their offense, he is pretty important to their defense. 10 and 19 minutes his last two games, and you see 3 blocks, a steal here and there. So that does open up 10 and 19 minutes. Maybe Gorgeous Nang, maybe Danny Green, guys like that. So a slight ripple effect into the lake water, and then at best the Raptors are likely without Scotty Barnes. So that front court can get a little different for them. And this was something that we saw in that last game that was different from 1 to 2 because of the absence of Scotty Barnes. Holy cow, I just turned into my boy from Maryland, Ben. No, he doesn't talk like that. Anyway, Scotty started that game in game 1, and then they rolled it back when Scotty was out and started Precious Achiuwa with Siakam instead of going like double bigs because Gary Trent was able to start. But as soon as Gary Trent couldn't play, we saw some Boucher in the mix. We saw some Kem Birch in the third quarter, and then of course to close it out. And something that we saw early and often that we didn't have in the first one was fouls. Joel Embiid started picking up fouls, getting to the free throw line. Then he had like 10 free throws or something in the first quarter. 12 for 14 overall in the game. Yeah. And we know that can be
as a team. 30 free throw attempts as a team for the Sixers to Raptors 12.
Bro, there's a picture, and there was a clip of, I think it was Precious Achiuwa. He was going for either a rebound or something, or something like that. And Harden and Embiid were around him, and they both just like flopped to the ground. And Achiuwa's standing there, and you would have thought Achiuwa just like killed these. Like he would, right? You could probably Photoshop a smoking gun into the picture. Let me see if I know I tweeted it, so I'm gonna go find it. But it was just like insane.
While you looked it up, Nick Nurse did say that like they wanted to be very aggressive towards Embiid, and so the Sixers responded by trying to get Embiid in the paint and low post to get him closer to the basket to pick up those easy fouls. And after the game, Embiid went up to Nurse and said like, "Oh, keep fouling me, bro. I'll keep making them." So, maybe the Raptors hold off on their aggressive and try to not get in his head with the fouling him and being aggressive with them.
Yeah, you don't want to give away free points here, but yeah, here's the picture of we got Fred VanVleet and Precious Achiuwa. This reminds me of like the Eddie Guerrero bit where the ref would look the other way and he'd toss like the other guy the chair and then turn around and be laid out. Like you would think Embiid and Harden just got like smoked, and everyone's just standing there like, what did we do? We didn't do that. So shout out to the flop masters, Embiid and Harden here. So you got to believe, after every game, NBA looks at tape and it's like, all right, refs, this is what's happening. Here's what you did right. Here's what you did wrong. And this is the kind of basketball we want to see. So, yeah, we'll see if they walk backwards on the fouls. Not so much for the ref side, but like you said, for the Raptors themselves and how they play. Embiid here on the season, they were trapping him every game, and Embiid even, talked about how he doesn't go into these games expecting to score 30 or 40. You just play what they give you. And Nurse might adjust as we go, but the adjustment on the fly without Scotty Barnes certainly probably changes this whole game plan that we had before game 1. So something to keep an eye on. With that said, starting on the Sixer side, do you want to go back to something on Embiid like his free throws at 10.5? Do you want to maybe stay away from him and focus on Harden here? Harden's fantasy points was my favorite play on the slate, or on that game last game. The man had 35 fantasy points at half, y'all. 30 effing 5, and just did not get it done. Anything that's standing out to you for the big guys before we look at the tertiary guys?
Yeah, Harden's assist prop is less than 10, and I always like that. I think people will click on his game log and say, oh man, he had 6 assists last game. I'm gonna click the under. But a big reason why is because they took 30 trips to the they took 30 free throws.
No assists on free throws. I think they should
Yeah.
change there.
Yeah. So you gotta imagine, if this game's called a little cleaner and you have less fouls, like Harden at 9.5 assists, well below his season average. And having all the shooters around him with Thibault being out, I think that's live. His fantasy points, you can go back to it. I mean, the Raptors did say that like they're not worried about Harden anymore in this series. Like they're gonna just ISO him. Like they're not gonna try to trap or send any double teams on him. So if that's true, I mean his fantasy points, it's pretty low for him in a playoff game where he's gonna play 40 plus minutes. So I would say it probably his assists and then his fantasy points. And then, I mean, talk about our strategy in the playoffs with more minutes than fantasy points, Maxey and Tobias. So they're both pushing close to 40 minutes in this series, and their fantasy points continue to stay at 30 for both of them. So I think you can definitely consider those. I mean, I probably wouldn't play both in the same card, but just mix and match. And but yeah, if they're gonna play 40 minutes and you're only gonna have a 30 fantasy point projection on them. I'm curious to see what the Nurse does with Maxey though. They got to do something because they're getting burned by him. And Nurse he's notorious for making the right adjustment defensively. So yeah, maybe Maxey is due for some regression, but sometimes a mismatch is a mismatch. What do you think about him?
Yeah, and then even Maxey being a problem, you're not gonna make him a bigger problem than Harden and Embiid, right? Like if he's killing you, he's killing you. But when you give up on trying to stop Harden and Embiid to try and stop Tyrese Maxey, what are we doing? So I don't know. I don't know how much adjustments you could truly make. I do like what you're saying though. Playing way more minutes than your fantasy projection. Yeah. I've been a sucker for that bet all season long.
But you only have him projected for 32, which is interesting. Maxey. You there?
Oh yeah, I keep muting because of this echo issue.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, I was asking because do you know why that is? Because you have you have him for 38 minutes.
Josh, when I mute, I can still hear you, bro. You have to repeat the question now.
Okay. All right.
I was asking. No, I
just in my mind, I was like, I'm frozen.
Yeah, no, double digit shot attempts last 2 games, but just 11 shot attempts in that last game. So he really got there on peripherals, 9 and 8 assists. That's probably not sustainable for what we know about Tyrese Maxey. Yeah. So, but with that said, it shows that he can get there without 20 plus shot attempts. So, I am a little less confident in him because I think generally speaking, he's going to be more scoring dependent than Tobias Harris probably is. So I'd probably rank Tobias over him, but I'm still going to get to Maxey, and it would probably correlate positively with our Harden assist infatuation.
Yeah, I mean, so okay, I'm with you. I like Tobias fantasy probably more. And then would you give Maxey instead of his fantasy? Would you possibly go with this 2 3-point made?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Look at Maxey's last couple of games: 6, 8, 4, 6 threes. Yeah, and I like that. And then what is the line? 1.5 or is it straight up 2?
Just straight up 2. So
yeah,
push if he just gets the.
All right, I'll take the shot on that. Sure.
And then Tobias at 2.5 assists. That's tempting, man. That's been up to almost 4. Yeah, but I mean his fantasy points probably make. I'm with you on that. It probably makes the most sense because he does fill the stat line.
Yeah. All right. So I jotted down Tobias Harris fantasy points, Tyrese Maxey fantasy points, and the other thing to touch on that Embiid assist prop that we were, or not Embiid, the Harden Embiid, the Harden assist prop. English, holy cow! A lot of his minutes, but Matisse Thybulle, not being in the rotation today, not a guy that you expect a lot of scoring from. I will say a lot of his minutes were opposite Harden last game, so maybe not as prevalent. But you look at game 1, Matisse Thybulle did play alongside Harden for a decent bit. If you replace Matisse Thybulle with just about anyone, but most notably like a Gorgeous Niang or anyone, and literally anyone, they're more likely to be a scorer than Matisse Thybulle, and it's just a little bit more assist potential for Harden. So cool. That's what we got there. So I really walked away with Tobias Harris fantasy points, Maxey fantasy points, 3-pointers, and we were just kind of on the fence with a couple of these Harden and Embiid stuff. But I think that's cool. I think that's the edge in these games is you go for the secondary guys. The studs are going to be priced more appropriately, right? You're never going to find value on 40-minute Embiid or something like that. So it's fine to wedge into these other guys. Let's wedge into the Toronto Raptors.
Yep.
Because man, we talk too much.
Yeah, we're good.
I just want to remind you that I can't go 30 minutes over because FanDuel baseball locks an hour early.
Be quick. The next game will be real quick.
All right, so then let's talk about some Raptors here.
Yeah.
Knowing Scotty Barnes is doubtful, looking at some of these props that stick out for the Raptors, we got 47 fantasy points on Siakam. We got 41 on Van Vliet. Finally starting to get some respect, right? We were loving that at 36. I was like, yes,
36, please. Yeah.
So a little respect on his name. OG Anunoby, we liked a lot of his point props theoretically before the last start because we thought there would be no Trent and Barnes. Trent was essentially a non-factor anyway, so Anunoby was able to clear that prop. Maybe we can discuss going back to that well. And then Gary Trent, knowing what we don't know, it's nothing. He could be he could still be sluggish here and struggling. A non-Rona illness leaves the door open for interpretation a lot. And it's even more like, not to get like weird, but like if you have an illness in the playoffs, why would you want him around your team? You know what I mean? Like, why risk getting the whole team sick? But we're too far gone on that one. So where do we start? I guess I want to talk about Anunoby. We like to looking at these secondary guys. Do you want to go back after the 17.5 point prop? Because knowing at worst there's likely no Scotty Barnes, and then maybe best case scenario there's a not 100% Gary Trent. Scotty Barnes represents anywhere from 5 to 13 shot attempts removed from the equation, and Anunoby, to his credit, I think he's averaging the most points per game of his career, 17.4. He saw 14 shot attempts that last game, 15 in game 1. 5 and 7 of those shots can be from behind the arc. Now that's really where he's going to get it is during the game. But 17.5 is still kind of a light line if he's going to walk into another 38 minutes and double-digit shot attempts. Any interest in his 17.5 real points? And then what about 30 fantasy points on him? This is another case where he probably plays closer to 40 minutes than 30 minutes, and he is a guy that can pick up some peripherals. So weighting the risk reward here, would you rather go 30 fantasy points or stick with 17.5 real points?
I'd probably stick with the real points. Yeah, I would stick with the real points. And I mean, and then secondary, I would go with this 2.5 3-point made. Like you said, a lot of his shots and points will come from the 3 ball. He will sit in the corner and get those easy corner 3 attempts. So, yeah, I'd probably go points and then 3-point made for him.
Okay. And when it comes to fantasy, I have him projected for 37.5 fantasy points right now in 38 minutes. So I mean, it's just 7.5 point gap. So there's a lot of Anunoby stuff that's live for us. I think all of those props, points, 3-pointers, and fantasy points will make the list for me.
He'll be crucial. They'll need him today.
I would assume we're just going to avoid anything Gary Trent. All right. And then moving up to Fred Van Vliet.
Everything. I don't know. I can't decide, man. Everything is live for him. His assist prop being at home, I think he's gonna distribute it. And then his 3-point prop took 16 threes last game. And now he's at home. He's averaging 10 3-point attempts on the season. I mean, he's gonna chuck it from 3. So and they're gonna need those points from his 3 ball. I like that, and I mean his block steals is live against James Harden, who turns it over at a high rate. I mean, what do you think? Do we just get it all with the fantasy, even though it's juiced?
Yeah, probably. You expecting a super competitive down to the wire game?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
this is like pretty much a do or die game for them because when you go down 0-3, it's pretty much a wrap.
Yeah. So like in game one, it was pretty lopsided. Van Vliet probably leaves 6-7 minutes on the table.
Yep.
In game two was a little bit more what we might see today. That's 43 minutes. So even though it is closer to the points per minute versus fantasy point projected, I'm with you. It's all or nothing. You can't go down in this game. So I'd probably take the fantasy points. And he also is somebody that averages almost 2 steals per game, 2.5, a little under 2.5 stocks per game.
That's tempting, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that block steal prop, man, tempting.
It if nothing else, it heightens the floor in a fantasy point.
Yeah.
So I'd probably start with the fantasy points and expect him to play his minutes here. But I'm with you. Everything on Van Vliet looks really, really nice. Even more so if we start learning that Gary Trent's more banged up than anyone wants him to be. And then
and Drake's gonna be hyping him up from the sideline.
And they ain't got no reward for that. Award trophies. Hey man, I could drop Drake puns all night. So I need you to laugh at the first one so I don't get deeper into this hole. There we go.
We don't have time.
No, all right. Okay.
All
right. Views from the clicks, as in click that thumbs up.
Yeah.
Siakam, last guy we want to talk about.
What do you want? Probably fantasy again, right? I mean, this guy. I mean, he's gonna do it all and fill the stat line and carry the team on his back.
47 fantasy points. I got him for 50. That's not a big gap.
Do you want? I mean, okay. If you don't want to sweat such a high number with him, I do think his assist prop is live. He will drive in and do that signature spin move, kick out to the 3-point shooter.
Okay. I think he is priced to the gills on just about everything.
I agree. I would say his assist prop is the only thing that's pretty much not juiced. It's always been at 5.5 all season. It's pretty much a season average.
Okay. Well, no warm fuzzies over here, but I'm with that.
Okay.
So I guess give me Van Vliet, give me some Anunoby, no Trent, and then any quirks with the minute rotation last game. Achua didn't play the fourth. Boucher, Kem Birch, and Malachi Flynn did, alongside Van Vliet, Siakam, Anunoby. So looking at maybe Precious Achua first half, but I don't want to dig into picking on Embiid first half because he might just all right, cool. Chat, you guys got anything on this one before we move on? Chat's kind of dead. What's that about? I need to wake the F up.
Celebrating the festivities today.
That's true. And if you are celebrating 420, then you know what they're gonna want, Josh.
What's that?
They're gonna want their chips with the dip.
Oh yeah.
Well, I still to this day don't understand what the heck he meant. But I want my chips with the dip. Okay. Yeah.
So who we dipping in the Bulls?
All right. Emphasis on you and that word. That got weird. Hey, before we move on to the main event here, if you guys want access to the fully operational prop detector, Josh will have this dressed up. It's in the rundfs.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. I'm also going to be tightening up the MLB spreadsheet. You go to rundfs.com, click yourself a VIP spreadsheet, click VIP memberships, find something that you like, click on it, join in there, be part of the fun, be part of the conversation. The pre-lock voice chat, I'll be in that voice chat with Josh for the next couple of hours. We have a FanDuel baseball lock in about an hour. Then we got DraftKings in 2 hours. Then we got NBA. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of everything. Get in where you fit in, man. Don't be afraid to ask NBA questions. Or we're talking baseball and vice versa. Let's get to the main event here. We got some work. We got some types in chats. Let's go. 67 likes though. That's unfortunate. We can get to 100. Steve says I'm multitasking. Have to try and be productive sometimes. Not me, man. This guy puts in so much more effort than that beta. God dang. Oh, God dang. Just some Raj catching slugs. Chat slower than Cole fastball yesterday. That's it. How I get a mod to time out Wayne's World? Thank you. Just kidding. Ayo, D, what up? Gentry in the chat. Yes, sir. Oh, we got some broccoli fans. What's that about? This guy's a broccoli enthusiast. Hey, be healthy, bro.
Oh, the greens, man. The greens today. It's all about the
Yeah,
greens.
man. The greens are good for you, right? Celery, salad, spinach. I put spinach on my Subways over. Yeah, okay. Hey, man. Let's go broccoli. Celebrating the holiday. Wait, okay, you were right. A lot of people are. You bunch of stoners in this goddamn chat. Oh, my God. You people. Vooch over 10 boards. All right, let's go. Forgot the holiday, but I am stoned. I never did.
They dropped pretty much every Bulls prop you could ask for, which is rare. It's a trap.
It's a trap. Chicago Bulls play the Milwaukee Bucks. We got 225 total. 10-point spread for the home team, Milwaukee Bucks. A double-digit spread in the playoffs. Welcome to the show. We have no really significant news here. And you mentioned the Bulls. They are propped up. Now, this is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. This is one of those spots where the Bulls are 0-1. So if the Bucks if the Bucks do it, man, it's going to be hard to overcome that. So I guess with a 10-point spread, we leave the door open for a blowout.
Yeah.
Do you think the Bulls adjust much in a blowout? The Bulls scored just 86 points in that last outing.
Because they shot terribly.
Yeah.
The only adjustment you could do is just shoot better. They shot 29% from the field, 21 to 71 between the big three. And they shot a season low 18% from three-point line.
Bro, this Bucks minute rotation looks like a game of Frogger, bro.
Giannis got in foul trouble.
You ever play Frogger?
Yeah.
That's what this looks like.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing Frogger.
It got all weird when Giannis got in foul trouble.
It did, but okay, still third. Anyway, yeah, Bucks only scoring 93. To me, that's more surprising than the Bulls sucking. I expect
the Bulls, they focused on their defense in that game. I assume they do the same thing today.
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right, we'll start with the Bulls side. You mentioned that they are flourishing the board with many Bulls props. Yeah. So let me ask you this: would you rather focus on first half props, or do you think what are we saving them for in a blowout? Go out there and play.
Yeah, you just go. You got there and play, and DeRozan, we've seen him. He's a guy who it takes minutes to ramp up, and he starts off really slow, and then we'll start picking up in the second half. So I wouldn't want to take a first half prop on him, but I do want to consider his 40 fantasy points, just because he will fill the stat line, try to do it all for the team today, and he's going to play probably more than 40 minutes. So I think that can be in play. And then Levine's 2.5-3 is always live against the Bucks. I don't think he'll shoot 2 of 10 again. Hopefully not. Yeah, I mean he should take 10 plus threes again. And then Vooch, man. So Vooch is a popular guy. Talked up on in our Discord. People are on him again because he led the team in usage in that game. He was what is he at 34% usage rate. The next closest was DeRozan at 29. He shot terribly too. From three, he was 2 of 10. They have a 3-point prop form at 1.5. That's tempting.
I mean, the freest prop on the board is there.
What, a double-double?
The double-double.
Man, yeah, but all right.
I mean,
his rebounding, man, has been up and down lately.
I mean, I guess it has, but he has 17. Yeah. Maybe half of them were his bricks, but
yeah, a lot of them were.
But
everyone racked up boards in that game because there's so many bricks. So yeah, take that's important to note. Take the rebound props for this game on both sides with a grain of salt because how bad the shooting was in that game. I mean, maybe it repeats, but probability is probably not because Vegas thinks it's going to go 225.
Yeah, I guess going into the regular season, his last 3 games against the Bulls, 6, 7, and 9 rebounds. The most recent being just 26 minutes. I can forgive that, but yeah, I guess there's a range of outcome where he doesn't get 17 rebounds. But again, We just need 10. And if you're interested, I know a lot of people are on the 10 rebounds for Vooch. Well, I think he's going to get 10 plus real points. So if you should be betting the double-double and not the rebounds if you are also in agreement that he's going to get double-digit real points in those games.
You like that more than his fantasy point?
What's the fantasy? Has anybody got to? Every time I change a tab and go back to PrizePicks, it just scrolls back up to the top. It's really, really inconvenient. It's really inconvenient. I can live with it, but it's inconvenient. So fantasy point props at 37, and I'm living at 48. So I mean, that is a plus 10. That's what you like to see. I do like it a little bit more because we are using their own projections against them. Because even if
what if he gets like 9? What if he gets like 9 rebounds, but he gets like, 17 points and like a few stocks, some assists?
I mean, so 9 rebounds and how many points?
Well, his point prop is at 17.5. Yeah. Well,
right.
yeah. I mean,
9 times 1.2 is 10.5. If we give him, I don't know, 18 points, gives me 28. So you'd need probably 4 stocks to overcome and stay away from turnovers. So
yeah,
I'd probably take double-double.
Okay, double-double. I'll add that to the top list then, because I do think if you're gonna get it, Vooch playing almost 40 minutes in a game, it makes sense. So would you say he's your favorite in this game?
Without context so far, or without swimming around too deep, yes.
Okay.
But I will say, 10 point. If this is a regular season game, I'd be scared out of my mind. But I'm just kind of hoping that you stay on the court longer, because I don't expect the Bucks to drop less than 100 points ever, much less back-to-back games against a team that they play a lot. I mean, you look at some of the scores. I guess the most recent score. Some of these games, maybe the Bucks in the last regular season game dropped 127. So in this game, they left like 30 points on the board. I never expect that. I think postseason, I think just Giannis and the Bucks are just way too good that they're not going to do that. So I could really see a 20, 30 point lead in the fourth quarter. The game prior, they also won by 30. So they've been smoking the Bulls all year with and without a couple of key players on both ends. So I don't know, man. Maybe I'm disrespecting the Bulls here, but they showed all year that they were not great against good teams.
Yep.
And game one might have just been a little bit of luckiness or good defense on the Bulls. The Bucks not being as offensively efficient as we know they can be, and then also they can adjust to what was working for the Bulls. And I don't know. I think advantage Bucks here. So I don't feel great about this game staying close. But
they shouldn't do the double-double then.
Maybe what I'm getting is, if it is a 25-point game in the fourth quarter, at what point do you call off the dogs in a playoff game that, I pretty much look at every playoff game as must win, but I mean, you don't want to go down 0-2. So I guess there is some skepticism and some pessimism on us getting screwed out of 8 minutes in the fourth quarter. We've seen that. So I'm a little bit worried. So maybe we chop that in half and look at first half fantasy. So like I have Vooch at 48 fantasy points for the full game. At 37, you chop that in half, and maybe we get a decent deal in the first half. And in game one, Vucevic played a lot of minutes in that first half. So maybe we start looking at first half props to kind of hedge some of our expectations.
Levine almost played the entire first half.
Yeah.
Do you see his
his
first half line?
Hey, he's shown he can do that under Thibodeau a couple times. So first half props for Vucevic is at 18.5. So double down, that's 37. So we're not getting taxed on the first half props here. And then kind of same through and through, 17.5.
So, I like that. I like this. Yeah. I like this more. So Levine, I like his 17.5 fantasy points. If he's going to play almost 24 minutes in the first half.
Yeah. Okay. Something we're going to have to
And then in the last one, what about your boy prop enemy number 1, Caruso 1.5 block steal? That's his only thing he's good for out there. He'll play 32 minutes and not do anything else.
And get leg dropped by Grayson Allen.
Yeah.
That's I feel like every time I sweated that prop all year, literally it's never worked. And the one time it did, they took a steal away or something. So
okay, stay away.
But it's a fast enough pace game.
Number 1.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
Bucks real quick.
Yep. Real quick, and then we
Giannis is juiced as always. He has been killing him on the glass, but so his 12.5 rebounds is live again. But then we finally got a block steal prop for him, 2.5. We know when he goes armor tight mode, man, he'll go off and he could rack up stocks in a flurry. So I think that would probably be one of my favorite props for him, just because everything else is so juiced and it's a low number to sweat. We're getting a discount. I mentioned in the prop early show that we're getting a discount on Middleton's PRA, which is not common with PrizePicks relative to sports books. He's just so up and down. You don't know what you're going to get from him. And then Drew, his assist props always live. He'll lead the team in playmaking. And then, Brook Lopez, they juiced his point prop up to 14.5 from 12.5. It's still in play, though. It's Vooch defense, and he's been effective since, getting back to form. So I would say that. And then maybe Bobby Portis, 7.5 rebounds, is way less than a season average of 9 rebounds on the season, but his minutes are volatile. I think he's dealing with some issue, right, where he was just announced that he will play. So I don't know what's going on with him. I think he played 23 minutes in that last game, but 7.5 rebounds is doable and mid-range for me. Anything else you like on there?
No, I think I'm pretty in line with most of what you're saying, or most all that.
Grayson Allen.
So like I said, I expect 20 to 30 more real points to come from this game. I think I'm on the fence between blocks and steals on Giannis versus rebounds on Giannis, because 12.5 is just really, really low for Giannis. I think that's something that if you give him 40 minutes of no foul basketball, he can get behind. But also, like I said, maybe this game gets a little funky in the fourth quarter. We have seen the Bucks not take their foot off the throat of a opponent, so I could see them out there just protecting the lead in front of that home court. But looking at their first half props, Giannis has a first half prop of 27.5 fantasy points.
Yeah, his first half rotation is weird too. So
yeah, I probably don't
on the season at least.
Okay. And then we've got Brook Lopez at 12 fantasy points in the first half, barely cleared that last game, but most people barely cleared anything. And then Wesley Matthews, been in the league for about 50 years now. They don't have a picture on him on PrizePicks. He looks like the Cody Rhodes silhouette. Cool.
I mean, he did a good job on DeRozan, and I assume he's gonna shadow him again today.
All right. In that first game, Bobby Portis saw 5 and 7, so about 12.5 to 13 minutes, and they have his first half fantasy prop at 12.5. So basically daring him to be a point per minute versus what we saw last game, and that's something that he has cleared in 4 straight and cleared in that last game in a revenge game. So I might like Bobby Portis' first half a little bit. But yeah, I do have to tighten it up, okie doke it, hook it, and get us out of here.
What's your favorite prop on the night before we go? I want to mark a gun special.
Oh, this guy, gun special. Let's see. Probably something to do with Al Horford.
Okay.
Either fantasy? I wrote either full game fantasy or first half real points, picking on Mr. Drummond.
Okay.
And
you can do a first half stack with that. Al Horford, first half points versus Drummond's first half fantasy.
Yeah, I'm with that. All right, let me finish up on chat, then we get out of here. We'll be in the Discord right after this, the voice chat, and then we'll pop our head in and out of the free Discord. And then, of course, if you're on Twitter, twitter.com/Gundacker, you can tweet at me. I'll try and keep an eye on you. Gentry says, what do you think about Portis rebounds? I think Portis rebounds is fine. He didn't play like a ton of minutes though, right? He played 23 minutes total. Now there were spotty minutes there. It could have been foul. And like in the fourth quarter, like all of those minutes at the end of the fourth quarter were opposite Giannis. So I guess they were zigzagging him from foul trouble. So I think the first half minute rotation is a little safer for Bobby Portis's expectations. So I probably am just going to stick with the fantasy points in the first half. And then, like we said, there was a lot more missed shots in this game than we might expect going forward.
Bobby's dealing with a calf issue, sore calf. So.
I didn't know he was a farmer.
I know. He's good. Yeah, milking him.
Yeah. Just like this chat. Our chat is a bunch of stoners. I just never knew until I assumed. I just never knew. But now we know. Shout out to you guys, though. Nothing but love. Patrick Williams over half a three-pointer. Let's see. Patrick Williams. In that last game, we saw 2 threes, 4 threes. That's probably a little too low for me to want to sweat. Kobe White's a good play. I can see. So if we game script this game to blow out, we know all season long we're attacking 3-point shooters against the Bucks, and Kobe White's somebody that could, 1, get garbage time run in the fourth quarter, and 2, just be part of the hey, we got to shoot 3 squad, and Kobe White could be one of those guys that has to activate, especially in the second half. So I don't hate the thought process or the game theory behind getting to some Kobe White. 4.5 real points. He clears that with 2 threes. So I don't mind that, especially if you agree with the game probably, possibly, potentially, maybe, kind of, sort of getting lopsided. So that's what we got there. But all right, we'll get Josh working on the prop detector. That'll be available for you guys in the RunDFS.com VIP. Wayne's World says DeRozan over 40 fantasy points, shot 6 for 25. Still got there. Yeah, possibly. It's got to be, like, if that game's going to stay close, DeRozan, Levine, some Vucevic, one of those 3 is going to pop off, and then hope for the best in between. All right. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Look out for more content tomorrow. It's going to be a weirder day for content because baseball's such a all-day thing, but we're still going to find some way to get it out there, man. I appreciate you guys making part of our day, be part of your day. Tell somebody you love them because I love you. Good luck. God bless, and go win some money.
Enjoy your day.
And stop smoking weed, you filthy animals. Josh, why would you say that? Okay, it's okay. What they do with their... Just kidding. Right. We love you all. Some of you we love less. I'm eating a payday. Nuts are falling over the desk. 5-second rule, though. Alright, I'm in a Discord.